Hey, how's it going, guys? So this is one of my first races in the season at Lincoln Park Speedway, and it was a cold one. But I also tried out a couple of different things at this race, including a little lens thing called a polarizer filter, and I also tried out a gimbal for the first time at a race. And so I'll get into the polarizer and stuff later on in the video, but I did want to just open things up with the some of the gimbal shots I did for the initial walkthrough in the pits. I couldn't really see the monitor the whole time, so it was a lot of guesswork. So we'll find out if this footage actually turns out usable or not. And I'll probably go in the infield for like the heat races, I think. We'll see. I'm sure I'll change my mind like 3 or 4 more times. The footage was okay. What you just saw was probably the best of what I had. It was definitely not calibrated right and kind of shaky, and some stuff was kind of out of focus. As far as changing my mind a couple of times, I did in fact change my mind right after that. I ended up going into the stands on the pit side and started taking pictures from turn as the cars go. This is where I was. And coming up is where I show you what this little thing can do. You can tell I've got it on here though, because I'm shooting, it drops a whole stop of aperture. I'm shooting at f11 right here. I'm not sure if you can see that too well on the screen, but you can see how blue the sky is when I've got this on as well. And I'm able to shoot at a lower shutter speed instead of like cranking it way up. So this picture right here is a good representation of like the benefits of a polarizer filter, in my opinion. So it's not every time that this happens, but every once in a while you get an opportunity to capture a race car doing a wheelie. And this one just happened to come in on the last lap as he was coming around the corner. He was in the lead by a lot. And so I think this was kind of a victory celebration, a victory wheelie, if you will. All of these pictures were taken at f7.1 for the aperture and 1/250th of a second for the shutter speed. For those of you that don't know, shutter speed is how fast the shutter goes down. The faster it goes down, the more you can like freeze an image in the frame, the higher it is, the easier it is to get a in focus shot. A lot of photographers like to drop their shutter speed down to 1/125, 1/80, 1/60, all the way down to, at night especially, you'll see some very talented photographers shoot at like 1/10, 1/6. And what that does is it creates a big blur and like a sense of speed. And so thankfully at this one, I feel like this wheelie was very well captured at 1/250th. You really can't go wrong around that shutter speed, in my opinion. I've been able to have pretty good success of being able to land quite a few pictures in focus when using that shutter speed. I always say we're making good time, and then there's like a bunch of cautions. I've done a lot of picture taking today. So it is about to be sunset, so I'm going to start making my way around the track, and I might take a quick walk through the pits, and I want to be able to shoot towards the sun when it starts setting, so we get all those romantic sunset shots. You know how I like that sunset action. So the feature race happened, all the heat races, things were moving along just fine, and I thought I was going to get really lucky because I not only captured a wheelie earlier that night, I thought I was about to capture a fight, but instead I missed the guy celebrating that won. Anyways, next I actually ended up going into the the flag box where Mike was kind enough to let me in and film over his shoulder. So check this out. You might have noticed I dropped the shutter speed on that one picture with Mike where it's like 1/50. And so my goal with that image was to get the motion of the flag, but also the cars going in front of them, because you've got kind of a stationary object there. So for this next race, the super stock feature, instead of being in the infield or in the flag box, I went into the grandstand and then hopped over to the turn 1 photo stand booth thing. And then I went back to the grandstand and then back into the infield. And here are some of my favorite shots from that race. So that was a pretty straightforward race. I kind of ended up spectating that one a little bit more. I catch myself doing that when I'm on the outside looking in. I end up just kind of watching, and I'm like, oh yeah, I need to kind of film some of this. So that tends to happen, especially the later it gets. So anyways, for the next race, it is the last race of the night, and it is the Bomber feature, otherwise known as street stocks or hobby stocks or thunder cars. I don't know what they call them. It changes it from track to track, from region to region. I don't know, but they put on a great show, and here are some of my favorite shots of that race from the infield this time. All right, so that does it for this episode. Thanks for coming to a race with me. If you have any questions, thoughts, concerns, opinions, leave them in the comments. I'm sure there's some professional photographers out there that have some expert advice for me and others, so be so kind to leave that in the comments below. Your critiques only help my algorithm, so the more you comment and criticize all of my work, the better. So critique away. If you have questions, ask away. If you think the video was cool, let me know. If you think any of the photos are cool, you can check all of them out, and the link in the description. I will post it to my Facebook page, where you can also check out where I edited a lot of the pictures live on the Facebook page over on Race Day Tyler. I'll see you guys at the next race.